Hello, welcome to Business Spotlight. I'm Mark Hunter, and today I have the absolute pleasure of speaking to Michael Silva of Page Break Media. Michael, thank you very much for coming along today. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to be invited on. Yep, doing fine. How about you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you very much. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm a big fan of film and everything. We're going to be talking about Page Break Media though, but I'm still looking forward to this. This is brilliant. So, first off, Michael, could you tell us a little bit about how the company started
Mhm.
and where it's sort of going next then?
Yeah, certainly. So the company actually started before my time actually. I was actually living abroad in Canada and involved in film industry over there. And my business partner, Richard Burke, who's a company director here, he was a founder of the company. So we started as a film production company called Page Break Productions. So yeah, they were kind of producing narrative content here in the UK, which is fantastic. Eventually that led to the point where Richard was traveling over to Canada, to Vancouver, where I was. And we'd actually met back in 2013 on a film called Whistle My Lad, which was a very successful BAFTA nominated short film that he'd made. So it was really cool. So eventually he reached out to me when he was over there. And then, yeah, we just had a chat. We started looking at some scripts and we decided, right, let's team up and let's start making some films over in Canada. So that was kind of the brief there. So it was really, really interesting, really exciting times. And then at that point, I was coming up to the end of my time in Canada. And so I was moving back for family and many other reasons too, as well. So luckily, Richard was also based in Aberdeenshire. So I was in Aberdeen. So yeah, we continued the company process. We continued making films from there, which was great. You know, had great success in that field by not only producing it overseas, but winning awards at festivals too. So really, really amazing times. Something we're still active in too as well. But we decided probably just over a year ago to expand the company. It was always our goal to expand as well. You know, film production is amazing, but there's other areas of interest too. So we looked at the corporate space basically here in the UK, and we're noticing a little bit of a gap, something that we could kind of implement our style into. And that was when we watched quite a lot of the products here. It was very much quite similar in the format and the structure. So we thought, right, because we're storytellers in film as well, we love creating that narratives and really finding out the personality of a brand. We thought, right, let's implement that in there and produce cinematic services in the digital space here. So our tagline is where commercial media meets cinema. And that's kind of what we focus on as we get to speak to company owners here in the northeast of Scotland and beyond, get to know who they are, their company, and just kind of what their goals are going forward. Because then we want to create something really exciting and innovative for them. So we apply story techniques and whether it's a story, video production, animation, a whole range of elements too as well, and just have fun with it too as well. To be honest, Mark, and just hopefully we can do something to really achieve something for that company to help them expand their reach and hopefully increase their sales and what they're selling too as well. So that's a brief overview. There's a lot more to it, but I'll keep it short for the time being.
No, that's fantastic, brilliant. So Page Break Media has been going for about a year now. And before that, it was Page Break Production. So when did Page Break Production start then?
So I think officially that was round about 2015, roughly, give
Ah,
or take. I'd met Richard, who, again, as I mentioned, was the founder back in 2013. I then later that year moved to Canada. So as it was being founded here in Scotland, I was actually abroad in Canada, living that crazy life of film over there. So yeah, it kind of ran from 2015 onwards. It's still, like I said, it's still very much active. You know, we're still producing content as well, and we're branching out hopefully into the TV market and also feature films as well, because we, you know, as great as it is making short films and we love it, we're definitely high ambitions in this company too as well, so always looking to push to that next level. So yeah.
brilliant. And what's been your biggest learning then? Sort of doing that transition from Page Break Production to the media. Has there been any sort of big learning so far?
Yeah, I you know, with any transition, there's always a jump basically. There's always new obstacles to achieve and to overcome as well, and that's something that we want to encourage because we want to grow as we develop. So I think personally, if you look at the commercial market right now, is fantastic. Some of the content is at the moment. I'm always looking for elements of change as well. What more can you do to improve on the product at the moment? And I think a lot of people maybe sometimes get too familiar with a certain style, and that's totally cool. It's worked in the past. I'm always looking for the future personally, and that's what we're trying to do, is long-term thinking, trying to achieve that next level in promotion too. So I think it's trying to overcome elements like that, where you're trying to implement a cinematic approach where it's more focused on the story, the visuals as well. And I think sometimes people can be a bit hesitant to that, and I get that, and I'll always tell them, I'll be very honest with my clients. I'll always say, look, some people will love this, some people will hate this, and are you okay with that? And hopefully the answer is yes, but if not, that's fine. We always work with them to find that nice middle ground, because for us, we want to tell the story, but it's not PageBreak Media's story. It's the story of our clients, and we just want to help guide them towards that next level, really. And as I tell them all, your growth is our growth, and we just want to help see you succeed, basically, and that'll make my day as well. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love what you said there, the story of our clients. Yeah, because again, what we do at Action Coach, we're all about um, helping our clients as well, local businesses and that. And it looks like you've got that same philosophy with the media company now, which is very inspiring. So that's brilliant. Um, Speaking of inspiring, then, because it's inspiring to me to help business companies. What is most inspiring to you today, then?
Uh, for me personally, what inspires me, what gets me going each day, I would say, is the challenge of trying to learn and grow, and develop myself, personally as well. Whether it's life or business, and obviously the business too as well. And I think it's looking at elements that maybe you struggle with, all the obstacles. It's like in film, for example, if you're watching, anything really, you'll follow a character. The character will always face issues as they undergo that journey towards the end conclusion, and you have to overcome that and learn from the bad times, the good times, etc. And I think that's something for me, is each day there's a new opportunity to expand, to challenge myself. And maybe some days I'm not in the mood for it, but other times I am. And no matter what happens, I think you need to encourage that too. So I think just it's trying to just grow, and every day is a new opportunity, basically. So I think that's why I try and encourage myself every day to try and push myself to that next level as well.
Brilliant. Have you got a favorite project that you've worked on? Either you've produced it yourself, or maybe you played another role within the project. Have you got a favorite?
Yeah, there's quite a lot that comes into mind. I'll mention one that I produced, and one that maybe I just worked on as crew as well. So the one I produced probably for PageBreak Productions at that time. Um, the first one that I filmed with Richard, called Crush, was a series that was first in Canada too. That was my kind of first foray into producing as well, which was fantastic. But one of the biggest challenge I had actually was when I just moved back to Scotland. Now Richard was still in Vancouver at that time, on Bowen Island, which is just outside of Vancouver. And we were actually in the midst of preparing for a short film called Insight. And because I'd moved back here, I was still signed on to produce. So the challenge was, for me at that point, was to produce a Canadian film whilst being in Scotland. And obviously you have a big time difference too as well. So it was very hectic. But you know what? It worked out perfectly. I'd built a good connection over there. I had some good players that I introduced Richard to, and the team to as well. He brought a lot of great people in as well. And I got someone to be kind of my body on set, basically, if you want to say, as I was over here producing. So I think that element of producing a film overseas was a big challenge for me. So that'll always stick in my mind, was that film Insight, which was awesome. So it's all on our YouTube channel as well, if you ever want to check it out. Another project really that I remember always being wowed by was, when I moved to Canada, I went to study at Vancouver Film School. I graduated from there, which was great. After that, I just started working on film set, building the experience, just loving what I was doing, basically. I love that creative element. And I teamed up with some great people over there, and they produced a television series, a comedy series, and called Night Owl High. And it was about set in a school. It was like a noir detective style comedy, and it was really fun. Had a great time on that, great blast. But I always remember I've got family down in South America and Chile. So I remember at that time I went down to visit my dad there. And as I was coming back, as you do, I was checking to see what films, TV series, and things like that were being shown on the Air Canada flight. And then I noticed the series I was working on. I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." So as I'm like high, like up in the sky, I was watching all the series and just smiling away to myself when I noticed my name's on the credits, and everyone's probably thinking, "Wow, he's loving that show." But it was just because it was great to see. It was a great experience to be flying on an Air Canada flight, seeing your name in credits too. So, those are definitely two projects that really stand out to me.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. What's the most fun part of the creative process then for you, when it comes to what you do then in productions?
Yeah, I mean, everyone thinks that you're just there filming. There's a lot of preparation that goes into everything. As much as we want to just jump headfirst into something, it might suffer a lot from just neglecting any research elements. So we always do a lot of prep going into projects. But for me personally, it's being on set, it's filming, it's working with the people right there and then, because it's such an amazing experience. You've spent weeks, months, years, even sometimes preparing for a project, and to finally be there, seeing it live happening in front of you is a very, very unique experience. And I've been very fortunate to see it as not only as a crew member, whether it's on camera or another area, but as a director and a producer as well. And it's a very special feeling that always gets me really excited to be on set. So I would say probably that's my favorite part, is the build up and then finally seeing it live. And yeah, very cool.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. So you kind of touched earlier a little bit about some of the biggest learnings that you've had as a business owner with that transition from production to media. For some people who might not know a lot about film and media at all, what are then the biggest challenges within the industry itself? Maybe not the business, but the industry itself. And so challenges. And then my second question is what is the sort of learning that again that you've taken from those challenges within production?
Of course. I think when I'll look at film first and I'll jump into media. The film aspect is definitely financial. It is the biggest obstacle to try and overcome. Yeah, you can get some amazing ideas, but film is a very it's a very expensive industry. Basically, if you're self-funding, for example, if you're in an independent company, maybe you don't have the resources from a major company, for example. So a lot of it will be self-funded or crowd-funded as well. So I think that's a big challenge of trying to gain that there, because again, there's a lot of great content you can produce, but again, you want to do it right, and that involves a lot of financial aspects too as well. So definitely that's a big challenge there, I would say. I think when it comes to media, and that's something that again we're very heavy in at the moment, I would say personally it's trying to find the right marketing techniques too as well, because again, you want to promote yourself. You have a lot of competitors in whether it's your own city or a field, and you want to be able to stand out. So it's always looking at kind of what the trends are at the moment, and what people are doing. I love to see what they're not doing at the same time, because what they're not doing is something I want to tap into, and and evolve into our own style and have our personality really kind of show on screen. So I would say kind of those are the two big areas for me personally, is financial and the marketing aspects, and just trying to keep up with it at the same time. Things are always evolving too as well, so it always keeps you on your feet, which is fun.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. And what sort of strategies have you put in place to overcome some of those? You sort of said about financial and marketing strains, I suppose.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the marketing, we recently just increased in our team too as well. So we're looking to hire more people as the year comes too as well, because again, we're getting a lot of demand for what we do basically, because again, it's very unique. People are loving the style, which is amazing. So with that comes a lot of extra work too, because a lot of the time it's mostly, for example, myself and Richard, we work with a lot of freelancers too as well that come into the company and help us on set. A lot of the day-to-day is ourselves basically, but we've got big plans to kind of expand from there. So I think for us, how we overcome it is just trying to brainstorm ideas, research. Again, that comes back to, as I said, all that preparation. You have to prepare for a project. For us, we want to show professionalism in what we do. We of course we want to have fun all the time, but we got to be professional in our attitude, because we want success and we want everyone to have success too as well. So I think for us is really kind of getting together and just kind of pitching ideas and just trying to work together on that. It's that collaboration element, because whether it's myself, Richard, or our other team members that are with us, it's the clients too, because everyone's got great ideas. And I think that's a big thing for us, is trying to work together and see what we can do, and what feels right too as well, is to push the boundaries without going over the edge at the same time, and really kind of get that across there. And the financial aspects, there's many support systems out there you can get. I mentioned crowdfunding was one, and people are amazing to donate their money and for a project. Maybe they don't even know who you are, but the fact that you're offering some great assets, some great elements of the project is very appealing to people. So there's always ways around it, and no matter what obstacle, there's always ways. You just gotta be patient sometimes, and just kind of work with each other and collaborate on trying to get past any hurdles that come your way. So yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. As they say, teamwork makes the dream work, and
Yeah.
it sounds like you've got a really good one there. So that's brilliant. Michael, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I've got one last question for you, and and what's interesting is from my own background as well. I did a bit of acting and stuff, and I
Cool.
didn't envisage where I would be now. So when you went to university and you were studying productions, I suppose. What did you see yourself running your own business eventually?
Yeah, that was always my goal. I, like everyone, when I was younger, I had no idea what I wanted to do. My career path was changing all the time. I thought this would be great, that would be great. Eventually, so I'm from Aberdeen. I took a chance at the local college here, Aberdeen College, on Gallowgate, and there was a film and television course there. And I thought, why not? Let's give it a go, see what it is. And you know what? I fell in love with the whole aspect. And I'd always been passionate about creativity in general. Prior to being involved in film and media, my initial goal was to try and become an international rock star, for example. So I had my band, I had my long hair. That didn't work out as well as I wanted, but it was a great time. So I think it was experiment with something that I thought, why not? I love this element, and let's go from there. And eventually, when I moved to Canada, that was for many reasons, for personal and for a career path too as well. I saw great opportunity over there, and the college, the university over there in Vancouver, spoke to me, seemed very interested and loved the work that I was producing here. So yeah, I think when I moved to Canada, which was a big deal back in almost 10 years ago now, which is crazy. I'd never been before. I didn't know anyone. It was a complete fresh start. And it wasn't until I eventually was there on day one, I was like, oh wow, I'm somewhere new right now. And yeah, I kind of built up a plan. I thought, right, I would love to have my own company, build from there, because I always wanted to, like I said earlier, I want to challenge myself going forward. And I was very fortunate to meet Richard back in 2013, and then when we reconnected again, it was fantastic. His goals, his ambition, and energy in general really matched mine, because I'd spent years trying to work with different people, and maybe it didn't work out for numerous reasons, whereas Richard kind of fitted quite perfectly. So, and I love the work. I love working with PageBreak personally as well in the past, and I saw a lot of potential going forward. I think we could definitely have grown the company, and that's what we've been doing. So, especially into the media side of things, producing what we do now is a huge jump from where we were a few years ago as well. Just having coffee in Canada, talking about film in general, and living life in Canada. Now here we are 5 years later, and it's an amazing journey to see where we've came from too as well. So yeah, and I look forward to the next 5 years too as well. There's lots of goals for the company, and like I said, every day is a new challenge. I love the opportunities. I love meeting new people, yourself even, Mark, as well. And if you're ever interested in acting roles, I'll give you a call. And yeah, I just love what we do. I love to create, and I love to tell stories too as well. And like I said, it's just, you gotta love what you do. And I think I've definitely found my passion in life, which is an amazing thing.
That's 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 amazing, because a lot of people don't find that, and you have. But if I'm going to take anything from this interview, and I think if anyone watching this is going to take anything, is you've said the word challenge a number of times, and I absolutely love that. Because um, to push forward with any idea or any business, you know, it comes with a challenge, you know, and you've got to step up to that challenge and take action, you know. And you're certainly someone who has done that, Michael. And I've been absolutely inspired with this interview, and I really appreciate it. And I'd just like to say thank you so much for your time, Michael. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you very much, Mark, for the opportunity. And yeah, it's been great chatting with you too as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And thank you very much for watching. You've been watching another Business Spotlight interview. Thanks so much. Bye now.